Emily hissed, her voice trembling somewhere between fury and heartbreak. After everything you did for her, after all these years, you're just walking away. Her words still echo in my head. The door slammed behind her, rattling the frames on my wall, but the silence that followed was louder than any fight we'd ever had. That silence felt like judgment, her judgment, my family's, maybe even my own. And I stood there, wondering if I had really become the villain. The truth is messier. When I married Emily, she wasn't just Emily. She came with a daughter, Lily, who was barely 3. I'll never forget that first meeting. She walked into the living room holding a stuffed rabbit with an ear half chewed off, her curls sticking out in every direction, and her eyes, huge, wary, curious, landed on me like I was a stranger intruding on her safe world. "Say hi to Daniel," Emily had urged, giving me that nervous, hopeful smile. "Hi," Lily whispered, clutching her rabbit tighter. It was one word, but it knocked the air out of me. I had no idea a child could undo me like that. I didn't just fall for Emily, I fell for Lily too. And over the years, I became more than her mom's husband. I was the guy she ran to when she scraped her knee, the one who sat cross-legged on the floor building Lego castles until midnight, the one she screamed for during thunderstorms. She called me dad before I even realized it was happening. I never corrected her. Back then, I thought love was enough to make it all permanent, if that devotion could override biology. I treated her like my own. Birthdays, school plays, doctor's appointments, I was there. People around us stopped saying stepdad. To them, I was just her father. To me, she was my daughter. But marriages don't always last, even the ones built on years of shared laughter and tears. Emily and I started cracking apart in ways we couldn't fix. Little arguments about bills grew into shouting matches about priorities, about how much time I worked, about how much she resented me being too strict with Lily once she hit her teenage years. By the time we divorced, the love we'd once clung to was ashes scattered between us. The court paperwork was clean enough. Custody of our biological daughter, yes, we'd had one together, Sophie, now 7, was shared. I would continue paying child support for her, as was right. I kept her on my insurance. None of that was up for debate. But Lily, legally, she was never mine. No adoption papers, no obligations, just history, just memories, just love. And yet, for months after the divorce, I still paid for her school supplies, her braces, even her dance lessons. Part of me didn't want her to feel abandoned. Another part hoped Emily might see those gestures and soften, maybe even forgive the collapse of our marriage. But love doesn't work that way. Neither does resentment. One evening, Emily showed up at my apartment. Sophie was coloring on the carpet while I made us grilled cheese sandwiches. Emily stood in the doorway, her arms crossed like armor. "You missed Lily's recital," she snapped. I blinked. "You didn't tell me about it. You should have asked. She was looking for you." I swallowed hard. "Emily, I'm not her dad anymore." Her eyes narrowed. "Try telling her that." That night I couldn't sleep. The thought of Lily scanning the audience, not seeing me, her little shoulders drooping, I hated it. I hated myself. And yet I hated that Emily used Lily as another weapon against me. Weeks passed. The requests piled up. Money for a field trip, help with a new phone, contributions to summer camp. Each one felt heavier than the last. Then one night, I was on the phone with my mother. She adored Lily like her own granddaughter. "You're not really going to stop supporting her, are you?" Mom asked, her voice sharp with disappointment. "Mom," I sighed, "she's not my kid." Don't you dare say that, she snapped. Blood doesn't make family. You raised her. Her words hit me harder than Emily's ever had, because they were true. And yet, how much could I keep giving when I was barely staying afloat myself? Emily wasn't working full time. Most of the financial burden fell on me even after the divorce, and I had Sophie to think about. My daughter, my responsibility. I told myself I had to draw a line. So the next time Emily called, asking if I could cover Lily's medical bill, I said no. Are you serious? She spat through the phone. I can't keep doing this, I said quietly. I'll always be there for Sophie, but Lily isn't my responsibility anymore. There was a pause, a sharp intake of breath, and then her voice rose like fire. You're heartless. After everything, after she called you dad, you're just walking away? Emily? No. She cut me off. Don't bother. You've shown your true colors. The line went dead. The next day, Lily didn't text me like she usually did. No memes, no updates about her dance class. Just silence. And that silence burned worse than any insult. Because deep down, I knew maybe Emily was wrong about me being heartless, but Lily, she might think so too. And I didn't know if I had the strength to prove otherwise. To be continued. Demela Part 1. Take through Rudgon Viso Hanaday. The silence stretched for days. My phone, once buzzing with Lily's silly texts and snapshots of her world, stayed dark. At first, I told myself it was just a phase. She was busy, teenagers drift, but in the pit of my stomach, I knew it was more than that. She wasn't just busy, she was hurt. Then came Sunday dinner at my mom's. She insisted I bring Sophie over, and when I walked into the kitchen carrying a grocery bag of Sophie's favorite mac and cheese, Mom's eyes flicked to me with an anger I hadn't seen since I was a teenager caught sneaking out of the house. You need to fix this, she said without even a hello. Fix what? I asked, setting the bag on the counter. Lily, she snapped. Do you have any idea how many times she's cried to me this week? She thinks you hate her. My heart clenched. That's not true. I don't hate her. I can't keep being her father. Not like before. Bullshit. Mom's voice cracked like a whip. You are her father. You raised her. She loves you. And now you're ripping that out from under her because what? Because it's inconvenient. Because Emily's difficult? Since when did you let Emily dictate your love for that girl? Sophie wandered in, clutching her stuffed bear, her eyes darting between us. I lowered my voice. Mom, this isn't fair. I have responsibilities to Sophie, to myself. Lily has a father. Her hand slammed against the counter. Where is he then? Where's that so-called father of hers? You know damn well he vanished years ago. You were the one who stepped up. You don't get to rewrite history now. The words lodged in my chest. I didn't respond. I just busied myself with boiling water while Sophie sat at the table, coloring, oblivious to the storm brewing around her. Later that night, after putting Sophie to bed, I found Lily waiting outside my apartment building. My breath caught when I saw her. She was older now, 14, with eyeliner smudged under her eyes and that same stuffed rabbit dangling from her backpack like a relic of childhood she refused to let go of. Lily? My voice cracked. She crossed her arms, her chin trembling. So it's true? You're done with me? The words gutted me. No, that's not. You didn't come to my recital. You don't answer my texts. Mom says you won't pay for my stuff anymore. Do you even care about me at all? Her voice broke on the last word. I wanted to tell her everything, that my heart still saw her as mine, that I lay awake at night thinking about her laugh, her tears, her little hand clutching mine when she was 3. but the words tangled in my throat. I care, I whispered. More than you know, but things are different now. Different? Her eyes blazed. Different how? You're still Sophie's dad, aren't you? You still pay for her. Why am I the one you throw away? I flinched. It's not like that. It is, she shot back, her voice rising. You're choosing her over me. The accusation sliced deeper than any insult Emily had thrown. I stepped forward, but Lily backed away, tears streaking down her cheeks. I thought you were my dad, she whispered. Guess I was wrong. Then she turned and ran, her rabbit swinging behind her. I stood frozen on the sidewalk, every fiber of me screaming to chase after her, to grab her and swear she was wrong. But I didn't move. I couldn't, because deep down, maybe she was right. That night I drank too much whiskey and stared at the ceiling, the word dad echoing in my head like a curse. The next morning my sister called. What the hell are you doing? She demanded. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. Lily called me last night. She was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. She said you don't want her anymore. Is that true? My throat tightened. I didn't say that. I told her I can't keep supporting her financially. I can't afford. God, Dan, do you hear yourself? That kid doesn't care about money. She cares about you showing up and you're vanishing from her life because of dollars and cents. It's not that simple, I muttered. It is, she snapped. You either show up or you don't, and right now you're choosing not to. The call ended with me staring at my reflection in the dark screen of my phone, hating the man staring back. Days blurred. Emily's messages grew sharper, accusing. My mom's disappointment became a constant shadow. Sophie, sweet Sophie, kept tugging on my arm, asking, why doesn't Lily come over anymore? And I had no answer. One night, as I was putting Sophie to bed, she whispered, did I do something bad? Is that why Lily doesn't visit? My heart broke clean in two. I kissed her forehead, telling her it wasn't her fault, but my chest felt like it was caving in. By the time I crawled into my own bed, my phone buzzed. A new message from Lily. It was only 4 words, but they froze me in place. I never needed you. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred, my breath ragged. And that was when I realized this wasn't just about money anymore. This was about losing her completely. And maybe it was already too late. To be continued. Reddit drama story, part by Hanang Words. The message haunted me. I never needed you. 4 words. 4 words from a girl I once tucked into bed, whose nightmares I chased away, whose laughter I thought I'd hear echo in my life forever. And now those same lips typed words that cut deeper than any blade. For days I couldn't bring myself to respond. I typed a dozen drafts, apologies, explanations, pleas for her to understand. But every time I hovered over send, shame flooded me. Because how do you explain to a 14-year-old that love and money had gotten so badly you didn't know which one defined you anymore? A week later, Emily showed up at my apartment unannounced. She didn't knock politely. She pounded until Sophie opened the door, startled. Emily swept inside like a storm, her eyes blazing. We need to talk, she said. Sophie clutched my leg, confused. Mom? Go to your room, sweetie, I murmured, kissing her hair before guiding her toward her bedroom. I closed the door gently, then turned to Emily. She wasted no time. You broke her heart? Do you even understand what you've done? I bristled. Don't start with me, Emily. You've been poisoning her against me since the divorce. You wanted this. Her laugh was bitter, sharp. Wanted what? For Lily to cry herself to sleep every night? For her to believe the man she called Dad doesn't want her anymore? That's not me, Daniel. That's you. I never stopped caring about her, I shot back. But I can't keep being her ATM. I'm drowning, Emily. I have Sophie to raise. Our daughter. She comes first. Emily's eyes glistened, though her voice stayed sharp. You think Lily cares about money? She just wanted you there. At her recital, at dinner, in her life. You chose to vanish. I opened my mouth to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Because wasn't that true? I hadn't just cut off money. I'd cut myself out too. Emily shook her head, disgust written all over her face. You know what the worst part is? She still defends you. She tells her friends you're just busy. She lies for you because she wants to believe you're still her dad, and the whole time you're hiding here convincing yourself you're the victim. I wanted to scream at her to tell her it wasn't fair, that she didn't understand the weight on my shoulders. But then Sophie's little laugh floated from her bedroom, innocent and unknowing, and my anger crumbled into exhaustion. Please leave, I whispered. Emily stared at me for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she turned on her heel and slammed the door behind her, leaving me in silence again. But silence doesn't stay quiet for long. The next day, my sister invited me to our mom's house for Sunday dinner. I almost said no, but guilt won. I thought maybe I could repair things. When I walked in, the air was heavy. Mom barely looked at me. My sister sat stiffly at the table, and then I saw Lily sitting at the far end, arms crossed, her rabbit dangling from her lap. Hi, I said softly. She didn't answer. The meal was torture. Sophie babbled happily about school while everyone else chewed in silence. My fork scraped the plate louder than it should have. Finally, Mom set her silverware down with a clang. This isn't working, she said. We can't sit here pretending everything's fine. I swallowed hard. Mom? No, she cut me off. You need to fix this with Lily. Right here. Right now. All eyes turned to me. Lily's most of all, wide, wet, searching. I took a shaky breath. Lily, I love you. You know that, right? Her jaw clenched. Then why aren't you around anymore? My throat tightened because things changed. The divorce. That's between you and Mom, she snapped, slamming her hands on the table. Not me. Why do I have to lose you too? Her voice cracked, raw and desperate. Tears spilled down her cheeks, and I wanted nothing more than to pull her into my arms. But I didn't. I couldn't. I'm still here for you, I said weakly. She shook her head, laughing bitterly through tears. No, you're not. You didn't come to my recital. You don't answer my texts. You don't pay for my braces anymore. You're not here. My chest burned. I can't do everything, Lily. I have to think about Sophie, too. The words hung in the air like poison. Sophie. The one I didn't walk away from. The one I still claimed. Lily's face crumpled. She pushed back from the table, her chair screeching against the floor. Got it, she whispered. She's your real daughter. I never was. Before anyone could stop her, she bolted from the table and ran out the door, the screen door slamming behind her. The silence left in her wake was suffocating. Mom glared at me, tears streaming down her face. You just broke her. Do you realize that? You broke her. I sat frozen, my fork still in my hand, my appetite gone, my heart hollow. Sophie clung to my arm, confused, asking quietly, Why is Lily mad, Daddy? I couldn't answer. Later that night, scrolling through my phone, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A post on Reddit. The username wasn't Lily's, but the details were unmistakable. My stepdad raised me since I was 3. I called him Dad. Now, after he and my mom divorced, he's acting like I don't exist. He won't pay for things anymore. He doesn't come to my events. He barely talks to me. I feel like I'm not his daughter at all. Am I wrong to feel abandoned? The comments were flooding in. Strangers from all over the world chiming in, dissecting me, judging me, calling me cruel, heartless, selfish. Some tried to be kind, saying divorce complicates things, but most, they painted me as the villain. And maybe I was. But reading those words, watching the votes climb, I felt something snap inside me. This wasn't just between me, Emily, and Lily anymore. Now the whole damn world was watching. And the worst part, they were all siding with her. To be continued. Reddit drama story, part 4 hindwords. I read the post over and over, each line like salt rubbed into a wound. My stepdad raised me since I was 3. Now he acts like I don't exist. The comments piled higher every hour. OP, you're not wrong. He abandoned you. Honestly, he's trash. Blood doesn't make family. Love does. This man doesn't deserve to be called dad. Every word painted me blacker, uglier, smaller. And the thing was, I couldn't even defend myself, not without betraying her privacy, not without looking worse. So I sat in the dark, scrolling, watching strangers declare the verdict on my soul. By the 3rd day, I couldn't take it anymore. I called Lily, straight to voicemail. I tried again, and again, nothing. Finally, one evening, I drove to Emily's house. My stomach was twisted in knots the whole way. Sophie was at my sister's for the night. Thank God, because I didn't want her caught in this storm. When Emily opened the door, her eyes narrowed. What do you want? I need to see her, I said, my voice hoarse. She studied me for a long moment, then stepped aside. She's in her room. Don't screw this up more than you already have. My legs felt heavy as I climbed the stairs. I knocked softly. Lily, it's me. No answer. I pushed the door open. She was curled on her bed, headphones in, scrolling on her phone. When she saw me, her eyes flickered with something. Hope, hurt, anger, before hardening into stone. What are you doing here? She asked flatly. I closed the door, my heart pounding. I saw your post. Her jaw tightened. So what? You gonna yell at me for it? Everyone else seemed to care more than you ever did. I sank into the desk chair, rubbing my face. Lily, I'm not here to yell. I need you to understand. I never stopped loving you. Never. But I'm scared. I'm broke half the time. I'm trying to raise Sophie, and I don't know how to be enough for both of you anymore. Her eyes filled, but her voice was sharp. You could have just told me that. Instead, you disappeared. I thought, my throat tightened. I thought if I kept showing up, your mom and I would never really end, that I'd always be tied to her, and I couldn't handle that. I guess I thought pulling back was the only way to move on. Her lip trembled. So you chose moving on over me. The words gutted me. I leaned forward, desperate. No, Lily, I chose wrong. I was trying to protect myself, and I hurt you instead, and I hate myself for it. I don't care about money or legal custody or any of that. I care about you. You're my daughter. You always will be. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Just her soft breathing, my heartbeat hammering in my ears. Then, finally, she whispered, I wanted you at my recital. Tears stung my eyes. I know, and I'll never forgive myself for missing it. But if you'll let me, I'll be there at the next one. I'll be there for everything, not because I have to, because I want to. Her wall cracked just a little. She swiped at her tears, glaring at me like she wanted to believe but couldn't trust herself to. You promise? I promise, I said, my voice breaking. No more running, no more excuses. I can't be perfect, but I can be here. For the first time in weeks, she let me hug her. She melted against me, sobbing into my chest, and I held her like I was afraid she'd disappear if I let go. Downstairs, I could hear Emily pacing. She'd never forgive me entirely, I knew that. But in that moment, it didn't matter, because Lily was in my arms again. I wasn't her stepdad, I wasn't her legal guardian, but I was her dad. And that was enough. Reddit's verdict. When Lily shared her story online, the internet exploded. Thousands of strangers weighed in, some tearing me apart, others reminding her that love is complicated and parents, step or not, make mistakes. The top comment read, open quote, "You're not wrong to feel abandoned. But remember this, people mess up, sometimes badly. If he's willing to show up for you now, let him prove it. You deserve consistency, not perfection." Close quote, and that's where we landed. Not perfect, but together. The end. I never thought my 24th birthday would turn into a battlefield over something as stupid and as heartbreaking as a +1. The text came 3 nights before my party. I just finished decorating the apartment with fairy lights, balloons, and streamers. My hands still smelled like tape when my phone buzzed. It was from my best friend, Clara. Open quote, "Hey babe, just checking. Can I bring Josh to your party?" Close quote. Her new boyfriend, the guy she'd been dating for barely a month. I stared at the screen, my stomach tightening. My birthday was supposed to be intimate. Just my closest friends, people I'd known for years. No strangers, no awkward introductions. Just comfort, safety. But Clara, she knew that. I typed slowly, open quote, "Clara, it's a small thing, you know that. Just close friends. I don't really feel comfortable having people I barely know there." Close quote. I hovered over send. I knew it would hurt her feelings, but wasn't it my day? Shouldn't I get to decide who shared it with me? I hit send. A minute later, the dots appeared. Then her reply, open quote, "Are you serious? He's my boyfriend. You expect me to come without him?" Close quote. My chest tightened. I called her. She picked up on the second ring, her voice sharp. "Tell me you're joking," she snapped. "I'm not," I said, trying to stay calm. "Clara, it's just, this party isn't that kind of thing. It's small, cozy. I don't want strangers there." "He's not a stranger," she shot back. "He's my partner. What kind of best friend doesn't support that?" "Clara, we've known each other for 10 years. We've been through breakups, jobs, everything. This party is about celebrating with the people who've been in my life. You've known Josh for 4 weeks. Do you see the difference?" Silence. Then her voice dropped, colder. "No, what I see is my best friend trying to control me. You're jealous." That hit me like a slap. Jealous? Clara, this isn't about you bringing a guy. It's about me wanting one night that's mine. Is that too much to ask? Her breath was sharp on the other end. "You're being selfish. If Josh can't come, maybe I won't either." And then she hung up. I stood there, staring at the fairy lights glowing faintly against the walls, the decorations I'd put up with so much excitement. Suddenly, it all felt cheap, pointless. What was the point of celebrating if my best friend wasn't even going to show up? The next day, she ignored my texts. In the group chat, she was quieter than usual, responding with short, clipped answers. I felt every cold syllable like a knife. By Thursday, I was panicking. Other friends were confirming plans, bringing wine, desserts. Everyone was excited, except Clara. Finally, Friday morning, she texted again. Open quote, "Look, I don't want to fight, but Josh is coming. If that's a problem, maybe you don't want me there at all." Close quote. I read it over and over, my chest burning. She wasn't asking anymore. She was giving me an ultimatum. When I didn't respond right away, she followed up. Open quote, seriously, think about it. He's important to me. If you can't accept that, maybe we're not really best friends after all. Close quote. I felt the ground tilt beneath me. 10 years of friendship, sleepovers, inside jokes, heartbreaks healed over tubs of ice cream. And now she was threatening to throw it all away for a guy I hadn't even met. That night, I met up with Rachel, another friend from the group. Over cheap pizza and beer, I spilled everything. She's out of her mind, Rachel said, shaking her head. You have every right to set boundaries. It's your birthday, your space. If she can't respect that, maybe she's not as good a friend as you thought. Her words stung, not because they were harsh, but because they rang true. But still, I couldn't imagine my birthday without Clara. I caved. I texted her back. Open quote, fine. Bring him, but I want this to be chill, okay? No drama. Close quote. She replied instantly with a heart emoji and a yay. You'll love him. But deep down, I knew it wasn't over because something told me this wasn't about Josh at all. It was about Clara, about the cracks in our friendship I'd been too blind or too scared to see. And when Saturday night came and she walked through my door with him by her side, smiling like she'd won, I realized this birthday wasn't going to be about celebration. It was going to be about survival, to be continued. Heart high, high name worse, the doorbell rang at exactly 7:30. My heart skipped. I'd been moving nervously around the apartment, adjusting snack bowls, shifting bottles of wine half an inch to the left, and then back again. My stomach twisted when I realized who it must be. I opened the door. There she was, Clara, glowing like she was stepping into some spotlight only she could see. Her hair was curled, her makeup flawless, and clinging to her arm was Josh. He was taller than I expected, with a broad smile that felt just a little too rehearsed. He extended his hand before I could even say hello. Hey, I'm Josh. Heard so much about you. I forced a smile, shaking his hand. Yeah, welcome. Clara slipped past me into the apartment, her perfume trailing behind her. She gave me a quick kiss on the cheek and whispered almost smugly, "See? No big deal." The party was already buzzing. Rachel and a few others were by the kitchen, uncorking wine. Music hummed from the Bluetooth speaker. Laughter floated through the air. But when Clara walked in with Josh, the atmosphere shifted. Everyone noticed. Rachel shot me a look, half warning, half sympathy. Clara wasted no time. She introduced Josh to the group, pulling him into conversations, laughing just a little too loudly like she was making a point. I hovered at the edges, smiling mechanically, trying to keep my party from turning into a showcase for her new relationship. An hour in, we gathered around the table for drinks. Josh was in the middle of a story about how he'd totally killed it at some work presentation. His hands moved animatedly, his voice booming. Clara leaned into him, eyes sparkling, nodding like every word was gold. I tried to listen, but all I could think was, he doesn't belong here. This is supposed to be my night. Rachel caught my eye and mouthed, "You okay?" I nodded, but my chest felt tight. Finally, Josh turned to me. "So, birthday girl," he said, raising his glass. "How does it feel being 24? Any regrets yet?" The table chuckled politely. I forced a smile. "Ask me in the morning." Everyone laughed, but Clara's laugh was just a little louder, sharper, like she wanted to prove something. It should have ended there. But Josh leaned closer, lowering his voice just enough to draw attention. "Clara told me you were, what's the word, a little protective?" I froze. Clara's cheeks flushed. "Josh." she warned. He smirked, sipping his drink. What? I'm just saying, she told me you were worried about me being here, like I'd ruined the party or something. My face burned. The room went quiet for a moment too long. I laughed, brittle. That's not exactly what I said. Clara shifted uncomfortably, but she didn't defend me. Not really. Instead, she squeezed his arm and said lightly, she's just particular. You know how birthdays can be. I excused myself to the kitchen, my hands shaking as I poured more wine I didn't even want. Rachel followed, her voice low. He's a jerk, she hissed. And Clara, what the hell is she doing? Throwing you under the bus like that? I swallowed hard, blinking back angry tears. It's fine. I'll survive the night. But it wasn't fine. The rest of the evening was a blur of tension. Josh dominated every conversation, telling stories no one asked for, bragging about his gym routine, his car, his ex-girlfriends. Clara clung to him like he was some prize she needed everyone to admire. And me? I smiled through it all, my cheeks aching, my heart pounding with every fake laugh. By 10 o'clock, I was exhausted. I stepped onto the balcony for fresh air, clutching a glass of water. The city lights glittered, mocking me with their brightness. Behind me, I heard the sliding door open. Clara slipped out, her heels clicking softly. Hey, she said, her tone sweet, almost rehearsed. Having fun? I turned, meeting her eyes. Are you? She flinched at my tone. What's that supposed to mean? Clara, I said, my voice trembling, this was supposed to be my night, but the whole time it's been about you and Josh. Do you even realize how uncomfortable you made me? Her jaw tightened. Uncomfortable? You're the one who made it weird in the first place. If you just accepted him from the start, none of this would feel so tense. I stared at her, stunned. You're blaming me? Yes, she snapped. You've always had this thing about me dating, like you want me all to yourself. It's controlling. The words cut deep. That's not true, I whispered. I just wanted one night for me, and you couldn't even give me that. She crossed her arms, eyes flashing. Well, maybe I'm tired of everything being about you. Silence hung heavy between us, and then from inside we heard it, Josh's loud, unmistakable voice. Wait. Whose bedroom is this? Babe, come look. My blood ran cold. Clara and I exchanged horrified glances before rushing back inside. And what I saw when I turned the corner made my stomach drop. Josh was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, holding something in his hand. Something private, something he was showing off to the others with a smug grin. The laughter died instantly. And just like that, the party wasn't mine anymore. It was a disaster unraveling in real time, to be continued. Part 3, 2,000 words. The moment froze like a snapshot I wanted to burn. Josh stood there in my bedroom doorway, grinning like he owned the place. In his hands was a small, leather-bound journal, my journal. The one where I wrote everything I couldn't say out loud. My secrets, my fears, my heartbreaks. Look at this, he laughed, flipping it open. Didn't know we had a poet in the group. My breath caught. Josh, I shouted, my voice sharper than I'd ever heard it. Put that down. The room went silent. My friends stood frozen, wine glasses half raised, their faces a mix of shock and discomfort. Josh smirked, clearly enjoying the attention. Relax, birthday girl. Just having some fun. I stormed forward, yanking the journal from his hands. My fingers trembled as I clutched it to my chest. This is private. You had no right to go in there. He raised his hands mockingly, like I was overreacting. Wow. Touchy much? Clara rushed up, her face pale. Josh, what the hell are you doing? He shrugged. What? I was just looking around. Didn't realize Miss Sensitive had such a big secret stash. I glared at him, my voice shaking. Get out! The words hung heavy in the air. Everyone was staring now, their eyes darting between us. Josh laughed nervously, trying to lighten the mood. Babe, tell her I didn't mean anything by it. But Clara didn't laugh. She looked torn, her eyes wide as she turned to me. I'm so sorry, she whispered. He didn't know. He didn't know? I cut her off, my voice rising. He went through my things in my bedroom. Clara, how can you defend that? Her lips parted, but no words came. She looked at Josh, then back at me, caught in the middle of a storm she'd unleashed. Rachel stepped forward, her voice firm. Josh, you need to leave. Now. Josh's jaw tightened. Are you serious? It was a joke. No, Rachel said, crossing her arms. It was disrespectful. This is her home. You don't cross that line. For a moment, no one moved. My chest was pounding so hard I thought I might break. Finally, Josh rolled his eyes. Whatever. Guess I'm not welcome. He grabbed his jacket off the chair and muttered, overreacting, all of you. He headed for the door. Clara hesitated, glancing between me and him. Her face was a war zone, loyalty clashing with guilt. Clara, I said softly, tears stinging my eyes. Please, don't go with him. The room was dead silent. Every breath felt like it could shatter something fragile. Clara looked at me, her best friend of 10 years, the one who'd held her hair back when she was sick, the one who'd stayed up all night on the phone when her first love broke her heart. Then she looked at Josh, who was waiting by the door, impatience radiating off him, and she made her choice. I can't let him leave alone, she whispered. My heart cracked. So you're choosing him over me? She flinched, tears welling in her eyes. I'm not choosing. I need to make this right. Before I could respond, she turned and followed Josh out the door. The slam echoed through the apartment like a gunshot. I stood frozen, my journal clutched to my chest, surrounded by friends who didn't know what to say. Finally, Rachel put a hand on my shoulder. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve that. The others murmured their agreement, offering hugs, words of comfort. But it all felt hollow, like the party had died the moment Clara walked out. I excused myself and retreated to my bedroom, locking the door this time. I collapsed onto the bed, the journal still in my hands. My chest ached. My eyes burned. The decorations outside mocked me, bright and cheerful against the wreckage of the night. This was supposed to be my birthday, my night. Instead, it felt like the end of something I'd thought was unbreakable. And the worst part? Deep down, I wasn't sure Clara would ever come back. To be continued. The next morning, I woke up to silence. My apartment looked like a crime scene, empty bottles on the counter, half-eaten cake slumping sadly on its plate, streamers drooping like tired arms. And the absence of Clara, it was louder than any noise. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at my phone. No texts, no missed calls, just the ache in my chest, heavy and raw. Around noon, a message finally came. Open quote, "Can we talk?" Close quote. I stared at it for a long time before replying. Open quote, "When?" Close quote. Minutes later, open quote, "I'm outside." Close quote. My heart stuttered. I walked to the door, my hands shaking, and opened it. Clara stood there, hair messy, eyes red. She looked like she hadn't slept. "Hi," she said softly. I stepped aside. She walked in, her heels clicking against the floor, but the sound felt foreign in my space. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence was suffocating. Finally, I broke it. "Why did you do that?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know he'd go into your room. I swear I didn't. I tried to stop him." This isn't just about the journal, Clara, I cut in, my voice trembling. This is about you, about how you treated me. You knew how I felt, and you ignored it. Worse, you sided with him. Against me, on my birthday. She flinched, tears slipping down her cheeks. I didn't mean to. I wanted him to feel included. Like, I thought if I pushed a little, you'd see how great he is. I shook my head. You weren't pushing for him. You were pushing me out, and you don't even see it. Her sobs grew louder. He's the first guy in a long time who makes me feel wanted. I didn't want to risk that by saying no to him, even if it meant risking us. The words cut deeper than she realized. So you're admitting it, I whispered. You chose him over me. Clara covered her face, crying into her hands. I don't want to lose you. You're my best friend, but I don't want to lose him either. I felt my chest cave in. Then maybe you already lost both. Her hands dropped, her eyes wide with fear. Please don't say that. But I couldn't take it back. For 10 years, Clara had been my safe place, my partner in crime, the one person I thought would always have my back. And now, sitting across from her, all I saw was someone who had chosen a boy she barely knew over a decade of love and loyalty. I stood up, wiping my own tears. I need time, space. I can't pretend last night didn't happen. She reached out, grabbing my wrist. Please, don't shut me out. I'll fix it. I'll talk to him. I pulled away gently. You can't fix this with him. You have to fix it with me, and I don't know if you can. Her sobs filled the room. I'm sorry, she whispered over and over, but the words felt hollow. I opened the door. Go home, Clara. She stood there for a moment, broken, then nodded and walked out. When the door closed behind her, I collapsed onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. My body shook with sobs I couldn't hold back anymore. It was over. Or maybe it was just beginning. The slow, painful unraveling of a friendship I thought was unshakable. And that night, when I finally opened Reddit and typed out my story, I didn't know if I was looking for advice, validation, or just a place to bleed. But I found all three. Reddit's verdict. The responses poured in. Thousands of comments, strangers dissecting every detail of my birthday gone wrong. Top comment, open quote. OP, you are not wrong. Your birthday, your boundaries. Clara massively disrespected you by prioritizing a new fling over a 10-year friendship. And Josh, red flag city. Going through your private things is unacceptable. Both of them owe you huge apologies. Close quote. Another wrote, open quote, honestly, Clara's behavior screams codependency. She's so desperate for validation from this guy that she's willing to jeopardize her closest friendship. You deserve better. Close quote, and one that stung but felt true. Open quote, friendships end, OP. Sometimes not with a bang, but with a betrayal like this. Don't chase her. If she values you, she'll do the work to repair it. If not, let her go. Close quotes. Scrolling through, I realized something. For the first time, I didn't feel crazy. I didn't feel selfish. I felt seen. The party had been ruined. The friendship might be too. But at least I wasn't alone. De la